We've got Notre Dame football recruiting news for your Saturday afternoon, folks. A big time commitment for the Fighting Irish in the state of Florida. A prospect picking Notre Dame over Michigan, LSU, Florida, Georgia, and many others. Before we dive into this news, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel if you're new here, and head over to blueandgold.com for much more coverage of this news. And the commitment, folks, is from Ayden Pouncey, Winter Park, Florida. That's the greater Orlando area. The nation's number 138 overall player, number 12 safety, according to the On3 industry ranking, and the number 20 prospect from the state of Florida. When you watch the tape, Pouncey is a really interesting prospect as we watch the film here. Playing cornerback, coming up and making that stop. You can certainly see him translating to safety, which, my understanding, it's probably likely that he ends up at safety, but at 6'2 and a half, around 170 pounds, if he could play corner at the next level, that'd make him certainly an interesting, that's certainly an interesting projection. But again, we do think he's a safety. Pouncey looks like he close the ears for the young ones, but he plays with some shit to him, like you saw on that last touchdown return, blowing the kiss to the sideline. He's doing some really good things in the return game. Looks like a really good athlete. A 3-year guy on the varsity football team at Winter Park, so he's playing as a freshman, wide receiver, corner in the kickoff return game. This clip here. Says he's up against a highly ranked wide receiver prospect. Not a great ball, but makes a good adjustment to that to make the interception. So Ayden Pouncey, he's long, he's lean, great football pedigree. Notre Dame was recruiting both of his brothers. Jordan Pouncey back in the 2017 class was committed to the Fighting Irish, ended up flipping to Texas and then transferring to Florida later in his career. And then Ethan Pouncey back in the 2020 class. Another defensive back who the Irish were after, and he ended up picking Florida and is now at Georgia Southern to finish up his college football career. And he is the second cousin of the Pouncey twins that played at Florida on the offensive line. And then they were with the Steelers and Dolphins, I believe. So a really good pickup here for the Fighting Irish, landing Ayden Pouncey. Notre Dame was after him back in September when the Irish offered him a scholarship. And to be completely honest with you guys, I just didn't think that Notre Dame was much of a contender here for a while. Back in January, he added Notre Dame to his top 10 schools list, but it's like, all right, it's a Pouncey kid. It's Florida. LSU was after him. He grew up a Miami fan, interestingly enough. I read that in an article from On3's Chad Simmons recently. So I was like, yeah, Notre Dame just doesn't seem like a major contender in this recruitment. But the impact of Notre Dame was on display in this recruitment. Let me explain that. You visit Notre Dame, we say this all the time. Talk about this with Kyle Kelly in our recruiting show every week. If a kid you just don't know when they visit Notre Dame just can click. Pouncey told Chad Simmons that he didn't think he was going to love Notre Dame. Like, he connected well with the coaches, but he wasn't sure about the fit. And then he gets up to Notre Dame in March, absolutely loved it. The life after football was a big deal to him. Education, he was really impressed with. That's a very important factor in his recruitment. And then he got up to campus just this past week. You visit twice in a given month, or excuse me, I should say within a month. That's a really good sign. So he got up to campus again and then committed to Notre Dame while he was in South Bend. So, and then announcing his pledge here on April 26th. So again, folks, a really big commitment for the Fighting Irish. Let's look at Notre Dame's recruiting class now. I'm recording this commitment before the news broke. So this says 11 commitments. That's, of course, now 12. And with Pouncey being the nation's number 138 overall player, he would slot in right here. This how it's ordered here is from highest ranked to lowest ranked according to the On3 industry ranking. So Pouncey slides in right here between Tyler Merrill and Gregory Patrick, giving Notre Dame, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players ranked inside the top 200 nationally. 7 of the top 12. That's a really good. This class ranks number 4 nationally, and that blue chip percentage, which is your amount of 4 and 5 stars who are pledged, that's up to now 75% with Pouncey's commitment. So a really good group early on for the Fighting Irish. And Pouncey joins Chasten Smith from Chattanooga, Tennessee, McCallie School as the defensive backs pledged in this class. Smith, 6'1", 170 pounds, a corner all the way, and now Pouncey. And who could the Irish finish up with? I currently have 2 predictions logged for Notre Dame to land a couple of defensive back prospects. You got Nick Reddish from Charlotte, North Carolina. As we've talked about so much, North Carolina, a key state for the Irish in the 26th class and beyond. Reddish, a 3-star guy, I would say in large part due to him missing was like 90% of his junior season or something. I believe he got hurt very early in the year, and Notre Dame looking good in this recruitment. We'll see. Does he lock in his commitment now? Hey, like Notre Dame's getting Pouncey. Could they be getting Joey O'Brien? Like, does Nick Reddish move up his timeline from July to May? It's something I'm keeping an eye on. But regardless, I think Notre Dame ends up landing Nick Reddish. And then, of course, Joey O'Brien from LaSalle College in Pennsylvania, the number 70 overall prospect, number 5 safety. Save this clip in your mind right now. Just save this. One of these rankings websites is going to rank O'Brien a 5-star prospect. There's just no, maybe a little doubt in my mind. But I really do feel like he's going to end up being a 5-star prospect, at least according to one of the 4 major media outlets. O'Brien, a little bit similar to Pouncey in that he could play safety or corner at the next level. Notre Dame would like to start him out at corner if they get him, but O'Brien at 6'4", 180 pounds, definitely has that range and ability to play safety, and kind of draw some Kyle Hamilton comparisons. So that is the commitment. Again, folks, Ayden Pouncey, the nation's number 138 overall player, number 12 safety according to the On3 industry ranking. Another strong commitment for Marcus Freeman's class. Mike Mickens doing an incredible job, of course, with defensive back recruiting, really revolutionized, again, the secondary since he got to Notre Dame about, 5 years ago now. So, folks, I know you like the news, so hit the thumbs up on this video. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Go to blueandgold.com for more on Ayden Pouncey's decision to commit to the Fighting Irish. Appreciate you all for watching, and as always, we will catch you next time.